Okay, you guys, so I am going to be showing you how I made this Thanksgiving holiday card. I used watercolors and colored pencils. The first thing I do is write out the words on my paper, and then I'm going to leave a little outline around the word and a border outline so that I don't go outside the edges of my painting. This is just something that I like to do. You can go all the way to the edge if you want, but I kind of like these sort of hand-drawn borders that I use to color in. So this is in colored pencil, and I went over it a couple times. Some of the letters are a little bit fatter than others. It just kind of gives it that handmade feel. So now we're going to talk about how to apply watercolor. If you've never used watercolor before, you might start out on a kit like this. This is Crayola watercolor. You can get it at any basic store, Target, Walmart, a lot of grocery stores or drugstores will have these in the school supply aisle. So when you're using watercolor, you add water to the pan that has the paint in it. It's really common to just wet your brush and then stick your brush in the paint and try and mix it up. But usually you need more than just one brush load of water to activate the paint. And you end up just making a big mess. So it's easiest to just use a little squirt bottle to squirt a little bit of water in there. If you don't have a squirt bottle, you can use this method where you just dip your brush in the water and then kind of just scrape it on the edge of the pan to just load up some water in that paint pan in order to get started. And I do this a lot if I'm traveling, if I'm, doing watercolor kind of on the go. You just kind of have to add with your brush as you can. But if you can get a little bit of water in your paint pan to begin with, it makes it a little bit easier. Then you're going to use your brush to activate the paint. And see how I'm only using the very end of my brush? I'm not mashing the whole brush down in there. You never ever want to use your brush like this. That actually makes me cringe, and you're basically breaking the bristles of the brush down where they attach to the handle. Never ever use your brush like this. You'll ruin your brush, and you really can't paint that way because all you're doing is just smashing color down. If you're 2 years old or 3 years old, I would expect that's how most little kids would use a paintbrush. But you have to learn to just use the end of the brush like this. And the more you work with it and the more you practice, the better you'll get. At first it's kind of difficult, but it's just one of those things. All right, so I'm stirring my orange. And I'm just going to add some paint to my paper. I'm going to go ahead and add some water to my yellow. And I'm going to show you something. Okay, so I have orange paint on my brush. Now what if I wanted to get yellow paint? Do I want all of my yellow paint to turn orange? No, I want to keep it nice and clean. So what I'm going to do before I go into my yellow paint is I'm going to wipe my brush off on paper towel, and then I'm going to rinse it in the water. Now I can go over to my yellow and pick up some yellow. if you've ever used classroom painting supplies, you know what I'm talking about, because you always have the people who just go right from color to color to color to color, and they all get messed up. Now, a lot of people actually work like that. I try and keep my colors clean because I like to keep them as pure as possible, and when I'm mixing colors, if they're dirty, then they don't blend properly. So now I've got yellow and orange next to each other, and I just dipped my brush in water, and I'm gonna kind of touch the two wet areas together, and they kind of blend along the edges. And you can kind of mix them up together like that. And they'll just kind of, when they dry, they kind of have like a little bit of a tie-dye appearance when they dry like that. And then I'm going to clean my brush again, and I'm going to try some of this red. And you'll see when I use my professional paints and I mix them on the paper like this, they act a lot differently than the Crayolas do. But that just has to do with the quality of materials that you're using. Things will work together differently based on the type of materials you're using. Okay, so see how that yellow and that red kind of just sit next to each other? They're not really blending on their own. So I'm going to add just a little bit of water. And you see when I use the water, I just get a little bit here and there. I have a pretty good puddle of water and pigment on my paper, but it's not like overflowing the edge. You want to really control the amount of water that you use, because if your paper gets too wet, it just turns into mush. You can see though that this reaction is starting to happen right here, where the yellow and the red are mixing, and one of the pigments, I believe it's the yellow pigment, is pushing the red pigment away, and that's what causes that ring like that. I was going to go in here and blend this, but I kind of like what's going on there. I'm just going to let it dry like that. So let's put that to the side. I'm going to let that dry while I work on with my other watercolors, and we'll come back to this and take a look at what it looks like when it's dry. All right, so I'm going to put these away. So this part I'm doing in time-lapse photography, which just speeds up the whole process, because if I did it in real time, we'd be here all day. I'm kind of a slow painter, and I don't want to bore you guys. So what I did here basically is just pick up different shades of colors, and I put them next to each other while the paint is still wet. And then what happens is the colors bleed into each other, and you get this cool sort of tie-dye effect. Some of the colors, when you put them next to each other, you don't really notice too much of a difference, so you can come back to them later and add a little bit more contrast. Now you'll notice that depending on the colors that I use, some of them move around and some of them don't. Right there when I put that yellow next to the dark brown, it pushed everything up and it kind of flows its own way. Here I'm adding a little bit more brown to that lighter area just to give it a little bit more texture. And I'm just going along, I'm adding shades of brown, orange, yellow, and a pinkish red. I'm staying within my borders that I created for myself, and I'm just coloring in very small areas at a time. When I add a new color, I try to go to the dry area of the paper first, and then I go to the area that already has paint on it. That will give you the best sort of border effect when they blend together. And I almost forgot, here is our little color swatch that we did with the Crayola colors. And you'll see that area where the yellow and the red mixed, it kind of created this cool effect here. So sometimes if you just put the colors down and just leave them alone, walk away, let them dry. Sometimes it might take 5 minutes, sometimes it takes 20 minutes. Another thing I want to note is that watercolor paper is heavier and thicker than regular paper. If you can get your hands on watercolor paper, it works much better than regular paper. If you try to do this on regular copy paper, it's just going to be a mess. So if you get an opportunity to get some watercolor paper, please try that. If you don't have access to watercolor paper, just try a thicker, heavier paper that you might have laying around and see what works and what doesn't. You know, you never know, you could find something that works really well. Two more tips that I wanted to make note of really quickly before I let you go is that a lot of people think that working with watercolor is going to be a big mess, and it does not have to be a big mess. Like I said, if you control the amount of water that you use, you'll be a little bit better off. So just start out with a little bit of water and add more as you need it, but the paint will only go where the water goes. And if you have too much water, then it's a little bit harder to control. But you see, I just added a big blob of water to this ring of paint, and it didn't go outside the ring. That is a scientific property called surface tension, and we will talk about that again sometime when we really dive into watercolor. The other tip that I have is keep your work area flat. If you are working on your watercolor and you pick it up really quick to see how it's looking, then you could get this effect. Uh-oh, and it runs off your page. So that's one thing you need to worry about with watercolor, is to keep it flat. And when you're done with your piece and you're letting it dry, make sure it's on a flat surface and it won't get moved or bumped or blown around. Okay, you guys, here is the final version. I'll probably take an eraser and clean up some of these messier pencil marks. And this is just one way of doing something like this. There's all kinds of ways of being creative, but this is just one. And even if you don't do it exactly like this, I hope I was able to give you guys some ideas to get started. You should be able to get a similar effect with using, you could even use crayons, you could use colored pencils, you could use Crayola watercolors, or any type of art materials, that even magic markers. Whatever suits you and the type of materials that you like working with. And what do I always say? The best art materials are whatever you have on hand. Take a look through your cupboards and see what you can use. Create something and let me know how it goes. I'd love to see your images. I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving and be well and safe, and we'll see you after the break. Bye.